Welcome to Retirement Ramblings. I'm Scott, and today is day 90 on my countdown to retirement, plus a quick catch up for day 91. So, for day 91, I continued the fast that I started on day 92, and Thursdays are my busiest days of the week. So, I had meetings from early morning until about 3 p.m. And somewhere around 2 p.m., I got an ocular migraine. And if you've never had one, you're lucky. But basically, for me, an ocular migraine is what I refer to as dancing rooftops. If you think about these peaks jumping up and down really quickly like this, and then going across the middle of the plane of your center part of your eye with really bright light, so you can't see in the middle. You can see stuff above and below. That's what basically it is for me. And I get a what I'll call a mild headache, usually behind one or more of my eyes when I get them. And I haven't had one in a really long time. Part of them is hereditary, and part of it is environmental. My sister gets them. My mom gets them. The first time I ever got one, I was in the middle of driving and I couldn't see and coasted to the side of the road, which really freaked me out. And then I had to just sit there for about 45 minutes, which is the average duration that they last for me, until it went away so I could see to drive. Went to the ophthalmologist, had all the various tests done to figure out what it was, and that's when they told me what it was actually called. And basically, you have to just wait till it goes away, and usually you have to be in the dark because the light really starts to bother you. Anyway, I got that right around 2 o'clock. I still had meetings that were going on till 3, so I was sitting there squinting and just trying to get through the meetings. And then afterwards, I went with my wife to pick up 4 prescriptions that we had refills for that we didn't actually need at the current time, but they were within the time frame where we could do the renewal, and I wanted to get them covered under this year's insurance program. So we had put them in. They were ready. Contacted the pharmacist. My wife drove over there because I couldn't see well enough, obviously. So we went there. We picked them up. I was able to pay for them with my HSA, which works out good for me. And then when we got back, I pretty much laid down in the dark for about 2 hours until it was sufficiently good enough that I could, get up and do something else. And then around 7 p.m., I ended up breaking my fast, so it was about a 25-hour fast. And then I spoke to my mom and got an update, about her day's activities. And my son texted me and let me know that it was my daughter-in-law's father's birthday yesterday. So he lives in California, so I texted him, obviously wished him a happy birthday, etc. And just text with him for a few minutes. And then lastly, I ended up watching a video that Tina from This Is Our Retirement put out, titled 1 Month Without Norm, The Honest Truth, Tea with Tina, where she, went through what she's been going through over the last month, and the good days and bad days she has. I thought it was pretty brave of her to actually, put out the video in that particular format. And it reminded me of what my mom was going through after my dad passed away almost 6 years ago now, especially in the very early days. And still certain things happen and triggers really bad days. But as they say, it is what it is. Anyway, that was the end of my day 91. Then today, day 90, woohoo! It was another round of morning meetings. And then I got paid today, which that's nice. But more importantly, I finally went positive on my vacation pay that I had used up during the cruise that we took in August. So now my vacation is now accruing in a positive way, so I won't owe the company money back at the end of the year when I retire. And in fact, by the time I get to retirement, I should have somewhere around 3.5 days accrued if I don't take any more time off between now and the end of the year, that the company will then just pay out to me at the end of the year. I also reached out to my HR folks today to find out some information about a Medicare program that they had someone come in and talk to us about last week. They were supposed to send out the webinar recording along with the deck. That hasn't been sent out yet, and I had back-to-back meetings, so I had to stop right at the end of when this webinar was supposed to end, and I didn't get to see the last, 5 or 10 minutes because the lady ran over, and so that's when she was answering the questions, and I had posted a bunch of questions, so I want to hear what the answers to those were. And then I also asked when we're going to be told about are we staying with the same medical coverage next year or changing coverage, because again, I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to go Cobra or, starting on the 15th of October, I'll start to be able to look both for my wife and then ultimately for myself as well to figure out what we need to do regard to Medicare for 2026. And then my wife went and had her fasting labs done today for the ones that the doctor wrote, and then she'll go on Monday for the supplemental ones that I submitted that the doctor wouldn't write. So by Monday early morning, she will have the blood draws have done for both of them, so it'd be more than enough time for them to process, get the results back in advance of when she actually has to go see the doctor. And then my next door neighbor texted me and said that they're going to have chlorinating liquid put on their roof. I assume this weekend. They just said soon. And they, I had done mine. I did it myself about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago now. And so they wanted me to give them answer some questions with regard to, what the mixtures were and other things. And I answered all the questions that I could. But then I also directed them to a video that was the original video that I watched that, was by a professional that does this stuff. And he was answering a bunch of questions. And, like I always say, like YouTube is you can learn virtually anything you need to know on YouTube. You don't need to go to college. Like you can pretty much figure out anything you need to if you're willing to put in the time and effort to cull through all the different videos and get, and listen to a variety of different opinions and such, and experiences that people have gone through trying to do whatever it is that, you're trying to find information on. So I love it. And so anyway, I sent him the information from the original video. The link for that, as well as the link for Tina's video, will be in the description box below in case you want to watch either one of those. And then my wife texted me saying, okay, the labs were over because she had to go after lunchtime to actually do it today. And she's like, she's going to stop at Taco Bell on the way home. And, did I want anything? And I said, well, I'm on my way to Kroger to pick up things because it's 4X Fuel Points Day. And she was like, well, I can just, I'm going to eat my lunch and then, text me when you're going to leave and I'll just put in the order then. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to the store now, so it's going to be a while. And she's like, nope, no problem. So anyway, I go my way, I get to Kroger, I get all the things that I want. And the one thing that I'm looking for and I cannot find is Kroger had Kroger brand apple cider on sale for $2.49 for a half a gallon. And I rarely drink apple cider, but like usually in October, right, because that's like the main apple season. In fact, this weekend we used to go to the Brushy Mountain Apple Festival in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina, right? And you could buy any apple-related product that you want there. But I really was in the mood for that. So I walked all over the store. I couldn't find it. I stopped 4 different Kroger associates with their little electronic gizmos, asked for help. None of them could find it. One person sent me over to produce, and I went over to the produce guy, asked him, and again, he was like, no, I don't know where, I just got here. I need to go check in the back to see if anything came in, but I don't know where it is. And he said, go to customer service. So I go to customer service. I talk to the lady over there, and she tells me that according to her gizmo, there's 26 containers still in the store, but she doesn't know where they are. And I said, well, I've already talked to 4 people. Like, I've walked the whole store. I don't know where they are. So she said, okay, let me go find out. So what does she do? She goes and walks to the guy that I just talked to, talks to him for 2 minutes, and then comes back and says, no, we don't have any. We've replaced it with a branded version. So you can get that one instead. And I was like, no, the branded version is literally twice as much money. It's $5 for half a gallon. I'm not paying that. So I passed and went on my way. Walked out to my truck, put everything in the truck, texted my wife and said, okay, I'm leaving now, right? Which was like 35 minutes later. And so she ordered the stuff for me. I got home, unpacked everything, and she got home a few minutes later, which was super sweet of her because, like, I could have warmed the stuff up. It really didn't need her to stay there and wait, but, I got hot food when I got home, so I'm not complaining. Like, it was super sweet for her to be willing to do that for me. Then, again, later in the afternoon, I ended up with another ocular migraine, except the one I got today wasn't nearly as bad as the one yesterday. It was more like the normal ones, lasted about 45 minutes. And I didn't have to go lay in a dark room or anything, so I just could close my eyes and it was okay. And then I ended up making baked chicken with barbecue sauce and mashed potatoes for dinner. And then my niece texted me, and she said she had rented an Airbnb in St. Augustine the weekend prior to Thanksgiving, and wanted to find out if my wife and I wanted to come join her, her significant other, my mom, and my sister, and do like an early Thanksgiving thing down there with them, which for me is around, I don't know, maybe 7.5 hour drive, something like that, to go see, what did you call it? The Night of Lights, which I had never heard of. But then I went out to the website in St. Augustine, and it says, and I'm going to look down so I can read this, it said, during this Festival of Lights, downtown St. Augustine glows with holiday magic. From the ground to the rooftops, St. Augustine Nights features millions of tiny white lights that create a magical atmosphere in the nation's oldest city, and it's free of charge. So anyway, I asked my wife about it. She was up for it, so I'll end up coordinating with my niece to go, figure out what we need to do to join them, because I know that the day she's going there, I have meetings until at least noon, so there's no way I'm going to be able to leave early enough to get down there without it being late, certainly after dark. But then we could be there on Saturday and Sunday, and I think she has the place till Monday, and I could even stay over till Monday because I don't have any meetings on Monday morning that week of Thanksgiving, so that would be fine. Anyway, that's my update for today and for yesterday. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section down below or drop me an email at myretirementramblings@gmail.com. Otherwise, I hope you have a great evening, and until tomorrow, take care.